All right. I'd like to call this City of Harrington public hearing to order. I'd like to start with roll call of the council. All active members are here and attending. Would our esteemed visitors like to be recognized officially?
Is there door prizes?
That's what we forgot, the raffle tickets. Everybody? Nobody? Okay. We know everyone here. All right. I'd like to stand and do allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the matter at hand for the public hearing is the consideration of continuing or discontinuing the broadcast of our council meetings on YouTube or other platforms for that matter. Also, whether or not we should continue to record the council meetings and whether or not we should introduce online participation, basically the capacity for people to send in comments from online. So with that, I do, before we get to public comments, I do have one letter that I received this afternoon that I will read out loud. Harrington City Council. As a local resident and business owner who appreciates the ability watch and re-watch council meetings, I would like to express my interest in keeping the live YouTube streaming and recording. On certain occasions, I've experienced sitting in an audience of council meetings, but more often, I find myself listening and watching the live stream from home. I know several other members of the community that appreciate the opportunity to watch from home, pause, go back, re-watch, and share the meeting recordings with other community members. There have been several circumstances where a particular topic is important or impactful to a community member, and they've been able to use the recorded meetings as a resource for further information. These recordings keep information available, spur curiosity and informed decisions, as well as offer connection and value to the people of our town. I feel that keeping access to YouTube streaming allows our community the best ability to stay informed. Many of our seniors are not able to physically get out to or get to City Hall for an evening meeting, let alone stay for the duration. Our community values the opportunity to see who is around the table and see what is happening and listening to this session. I believe that it is important that our elected officials are transparent with the commentary and actions that take place in a public meeting. They have been elected to represent the people of our community and should feel honored to hold such a position. In a time of such great misinformation and disinformation in the world, it is important to have the ability to see and hear from our elected officials. Please, in the interest of our community, vote to keep the YouTube streaming and recording. Sincerely, local Harrington resident.
Anonymous, basically.
Yeah, we've got a name on it, yeah. Okay, with that, does any of our community wish to speak to those topics? If so, we've got a 3-minute, although I don't have a calendar or stopwatch with me. Would anybody like to make any public comments? And did we turn on that up?
That's why I'm standing back here to make sure. I think it'll be on, but
It looks...
it's on, I have it muted until we.
Oh, okay. Okay. Anybody care to make any comments? Yes, up at the microphone.
Just briefly, that was an excellent letter. I wholeheartedly agree with everything that was said in it.
All right, thank you.
you forgot to say it.
I'm pretty sure the rest of the microphones
No,
picked it up.
yeah, they pick it up.
Anyone else care to make any public comments?
I'll just say a little something.
I'm brand new to Harrington, but I do know that this is something that I've learned that has been being done, and I think it's an excellent thing to be doing for the community, because one of the things pointed out in the letter was how there are lots of seniors that can't get here. And even if they can get here, maybe can't stay for the duration. So I think it is a very lovely platform to have, and especially if people are working and can't be here, you know, then they can see it. And, but for instance, back to it also, like when something comes up in discussion with other community members and stuff. So I think it's an excellent platform for sure.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So I watch the meetings sometimes to see how late they're going. And also, I just appreciate so much, it's a point of pride, I think, in our community, that we're able to see open meetings as a citizen at home. I think we all do better when we know that our words are going to be recorded and listened to by others. I think it brings out the best in us. I think it brings out the most accountability and clarity. And I'm really thankful that we have this stream, so I'd like to see it continue.
Nice.
My name is Justin Slack. I'm a resident, and I'm in favor of keeping the live stream, the recording. I don't know, I've been a former council member, and I know that this is your time, and so the open speaking arrangement or having comments feed in, I don't know how useful that would be for you. You do have open comment or public comment at the very beginning. You have it at the end if somebody wants to come down, or they know you guys post the agenda. They can either talk to one of the council members or the mayor and say, hey, you know, I want to talk about this. But I think at least having the stream available and the recording is just a benefit for our community.
Thank you. Anyone or anything else? Okay. Comments before I close?
I wanted to say that I think the post that Stephen put up the other day was great. It did a really, it was very informative and a solid argument as to why it's beneficial to keep the live stream going. You know, I don't think, I think it'd be pretty extreme for anybody to be viewing it and be able to hold anything against us. And I don't think anything earth-shattering could happen from that. But personally, I feel, while it's true that there's some elderly people that can't be here for the meetings and they like to watch it online. Personally, I think the recording is a good thing. Being able to refer to it later. I'm not a huge fan of the live stream per se. I think it's a good thing to record to refer back to later. Just I'm not a huge fan of having it be live.
Okay.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Out of everybody in here, how many of you actually notice there is no consent to be recorded at that door? Washington State is a consent to record.
In places that are not considered a right to privacy, there is no right to privacy in a public meeting. There is no need for consent to record in a public meeting.
Okay. Me personally, I don't mind the recording perspective of it. What bothers me is how many of you with how cold it is outside, would have preferred to call in and participate to this. During COVID, we used Zoom for these meetings. It allowed public participation remotely. It allowed people to interact with council remotely.
And feedback.
And provide feedback to council members based on what's going on in the meeting at the time of the meeting. And I believe this solution should be switching back to something like Zoom. Simply because, one, you have not only recording, you have transcribing, you have the ability to open with public comment for anybody, allow them to be recognized as somebody participating in the council meeting, and if people show up in the middle, they can be recognized at the end of the council meeting as participating. I also personally am not a fan of the whole live stream, simply because there's no participation in it. There's no way for people to interact with us unless you come down here like you did tonight, which I appreciate everybody who came down here to participate in this council. But I believe it can be done remotely.
I amend my comment.
Sure.
So I don't care what the median is, if it's Zoom, if it's Teams, if it's YouTube. I just think having it streamed, whether you want to have open dialogue is fine, but the fact that it is broadcasted so then people can participate. I don't care what you use for the application of the platform, as long as there's no, all those things you mentioned and I mentioned are free to the public. So just so they can be a part of it, whether or not they can actually do it, that's fine too, but just having it available, whether to dial in with Zoom, with the video thing.
Right.
I'd like to add that maybe there's a misconception that we wanted to get rid of it, or I wanted to get rid of it completely. That's not true. I'm not a fan of YouTube, or the method we're using, but I believe in transparency, and I'd like to back up everything Councilman Meats said, that I think, and if you've been watching, you should know how many times I've asked people to get involved and come here. It's great that you all showed up, and it took something like this to get you here. I would appreciate your input, good, bad, or indifferent, every time, because we work for you. And I don't think council's objective was to get rid of it. Even though there's no legal requirement to do it, we felt it important. It serves us for the clerk for minutes. We refer to that all the time, going back to what was said. There has to be a recording. And Mr. Slack here, he knows that from his prior council and mayor, that you rely on that. So I don't oppose Zoom or anything like that. And by having the stream now, only a select few know who's on, or we don't get the information. It's important for us. You talk about transparency. We got to know, who's pissed off and who isn't, or who's giving accolades, or what do they want? We hear backdoor, shadow groups over here and this. That's no way to run a city. We got to hear it from the horse's mouth. And that's what I want. And I demand that from the public. Because I'm not just up here just trying a seat for my health. I want to see this city. I'm a lifelong resident here, and it means something to me. And people have to behave and get along as a community. So I think Zoom, something that you can interact with people, I'm all for it. Embrace that. Because we'll use it, council, I know the mayor, we'll go back at, what the heck was said, maybe a year later or whatever, we got to pull them records. And audits, so the list is way up there. But I can't express the apathy in this town. I don't like it. That's why something like this, to have you guys come out, if this is what it takes, we need more input from people. We have some monumental decisions to make, and I don't really feel comfortable making decisions. If I'm not feeling comfortable, why the hell would I make concessions or these decisions without input from people that are paying the bills, that it's going to affect them? That's what I want. So I'll leave it at that. But I thank you for coming.
Thank you, David.
You bet.
Any other comments from the community before I close this session?
I would like to say, yeah, I didn't know that you guys had done Zoom before during COVID and stuff, and I think Zoom is a wonderful platform as well. Like, I think that sounds also something would be wonderful, whether it's coming down here or having on Zoom. You know, I think that what he said, that as long as people can interact with you and we can all talk with each other and stuff, I think that's a beautiful thing. And so, and like I said, I'm new in town, and I really would like to be involved with the community. So I appreciate all of you very much, and thank you for having me here.
Well, welcome.
I'm glad to hear that you would like some input. I thought one of the reasons for using YouTube instead of Zoom was just that it's an extra burden for you guys to have to deal with getting input during a meeting. So I would prefer at least having, I don't care whether it's Zoom or YouTube, being able to see the meetings live or I can't see it at that time later on. However, there have been times during a meeting I thought, well, I wish I could say something when I was watching from at home. On the other hand, or not on the other hand, but when I have watched things or I've seen agendas, if I felt like my voice needed to be heard, then if I didn't have another commitment, I did make a point to get here in person. And I have to thank Steve because I kind of missed the announcement about this, and if he hadn't mentioned it to me in the coffee shop, I wouldn't have come down to lend my opinion tonight. So thank you.
Thanks.
I just have a question about, so I might have just missed this, but if it's on Zoom, then is it recorded?
It can be.
It can be.
And if someone wanted to get the recording, would they have to ask the city for the recording, or could they go back?
That would be a determination by council whether or not they wanted to continue to post them on YouTube as a free access component, or whether or not you had to come down and actually submit an information request.
It could be as simple as calling up the clerk and say, send me the link, or
It could be.
something like that.
Because sometimes people can't watch at the exact same time, so.
Well, that's no fair, we have to be here.
Well, if it's a link too, we could just post that on our Facebook after the fact.
If you wanted to, yeah.
Yeah, if you wanted to. Yeah. There's lots, it's technology, it's almost the sky's the limit. So.
I know Steve knows how to do it, but I want a lot of Zoom things that are also YouTube at the same time. And the YouTube is easier to pick up the link later for some reason, but it's just done simultaneously.
Okay.
I better catch up.
So if there's no further comments, we can adjourn and close our public hearing. Any objections from our public? All right. Okay, with that, I would like to open our regular council meeting at 7:18. And as tradition, we do, ironically, we like to have, if there's any public comments on the front side of a council meeting, now would be the time. Anybody have anything addition to say with regard to the rest of the council, or the rest of the agenda?
Not yet, we haven't started.
Okay. All right. Next on the agenda is interview our candidate, if needed, for council, or absent council position number 1. I know it's an open room, but anybody have any questions for Creighton about joining the council?
Just for clarification, Mr. Mayor, there's only been one applicant, right?
I'm sorry, yeah, that is
This one.
correct. We just had the one, I was here till 5 o'clock, nobody showed up, so.
Also, if it's open for questions, I just have one that I ask everybody, and I was asked, is Mr. Ostrich, what is your reason why you want to be on council?
I think as a citizen, seasoned citizen, older than all the rest of you, I maybe can add, and I'm going to use one of Tony's phrases, some tribal knowledge to the council that probably I would be the only one in this room that would have a lot of that. And you have a lot of big decisions to make, and I think I can add some knowledge to those decisions.
Thank you, that's perfect.
I do have an executive session on here with regard to the council position. Do you guys feel like we need to exercise that? Okay.
Are
No,
you
not
entertaining
for,
any questions from the audience for the potential council member?
you mean hazing?
I can still quit, Justin.
Yeah, you didn't sign the dotted line yet.
Okay. Does that take a motion, Stephen?
I think.
Well, according to the way we had, that you go through the process, and which there's only one person, so you just ask who's voting for Creighton, and
Yes, okay. So by a show of hands, can I see all those that are voting for Creighton as council position number 1?
I
I
Okay.
think there's also a verbal.
Oh, aye.
Okay, thank you. All right. Creighton, I have a gift for you. I'll let you sign an oath of office. And move your chair.
Put those readers on, boy.
Do you want me just to read this? Or
Yes,
you-
please.
Okay. I, Creighton Ostrich, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington, and that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge the duties of the office of City Council Position Number 1 for the City of Harrington for the remainder of the term ending December 31st, 2025, according to the law, to the best of my ability.
There it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we
Your
can,
seat's over here now.
Your seat's over here now.
You're sure? I'd still like to go out the back.
well, there is a
You
back
can't,
door.
we'll set off an alarm to wake the dead. All right.
Well, how soon for his computers and all that stuff? Is that ready to go?
Well, we didn't know who it was gonna be, so no.
it usually takes me a little bit of time. Should be quicker than with the last one, because the last one had a problem with, yeah. I should be able to get it done in a week or so.
And training?
Yeah, so, Creighton, let's talk after the meeting, and I'll tell you some of the other logistical and legislative things that you get to explore.
All the informative videos.
Yes.
Sign it.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
do we get to welcome the new council member?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, I have on the agenda, every year, the council should be selecting a mayor pro tempore for this year. In case I am unavailable or otherwise incapacitated, one of your peers can step in and be mayor tempore.
I'll second it.
Okay, Gavin? We don't
Yes,
have a
and-
resolution or a process for this, so.
And since I'm the next most senior
Should've
council
made you.
person in line that hasn't done it, I'll
Okay,
never be sick.
fair enough.
Well, we called him and he's,
With that in mind, we have a motion on the floor to appoint Gavin as mayor pro tempore. Any further discussion?
None.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Welcome, Gavin.
Thank you.
I will do my best to not.
I'll do my best to fill your shoes if needed.
Thank you. All right. Additions to the agenda.
I have one. I just want to give you an update about the building up at the cemetery.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the resolution to continue or discontinue streaming of the council meetings online. There was a resolution I sent out, brief, basic, that is, there's two. One's to basically to stop it or to continue it.
To be specific, you're talking YouTube.
It actually, if you read these, it does not identify the platform. So, it just says that we will or won't stream on, and these are modifiable, we can change them right here. I mean, these are incredibly basic, I don't know if you guys had a chance to read them. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love it if we modified or adjusted that to specifically identify a platform.
I think it should
If it's going to
identify a
be-
platform and the request process, if there's going to be one associated with
Yeah.
access to the.
So
Recording.
there's three types of resolutions. There's one for streaming, there's one for recording, and there's one for online participation.
Yes.
So from what I heard earlier,
What would Zoom fall under?
online participation, because a stream would be like Facebook Live, Twitch, YouTube. It is a one-way broadcast like watching TV.
So do we need
Online
like,
participation meetings would be like Zoom, Teams, Google Meet. There's a lot of different platforms, but it's about affirming, regardless of what platform you choose, what the council will or won't do.
And quite honestly, the
Do we-
last one of participation, that's kind of a moot point if you're not streaming it.
No, it would still be valid, because the difference, so, like, if you had Zoom, but you're not streaming it on YouTube, or you can still get online and participate, but it wouldn't have like any after recording meetings.
Oh, okay.
Like there are configurations that you can make something go away afterwards, but usually when you stream on YouTube or Facebook, if you don't get it live, you can go back and watch the recording. YouTube would, at least under this context, and you can feel free to change the wording, but Zoom would be online participation, not streaming.
Okay. So yeah, the way this was presented to me, it basically broke it out into three different sections. Are they streamed? Are they recorded? And
You got a paper copy of
is there participation?
so I guess the last one, do we need 2 votes on this to do away with YouTube, our current, and then adopt a new one?
No, I don't think so, because we don't have a resolution right now to say that we're going to.
We're just gonna go forward from now,
Go-
create a
just going
resolution,
forward from now.
standard
This is-
procedure?
I view this as just kind of cleaning this up and saying this is what you guys want to do moving forward.
So the one.
I would say,
Go ahead.
before any decision on a platform is made, we need to find out exactly what the costs are going to be associated with them. Whether it be Teams, Zoom,
But
Google.
didn't I hear that the council intends to discontinue streaming the meetings? I thought that was established earlier.
Okay, I'm getting,
Yeah,
We want a platform that allows for public participation
Right.
in the meetings, whether they are recorded or not.
okay.
and Zoom,
Zoom, Teams, both of them allow you to not only record the meeting, you can transcribe the meeting, and people can participate in the meeting.
Zoom allows all three.
So does Teams.
So do we want to bundle this all together as one resolution?
I would not suggest that,
Okay.
because here's the thing. With Zoom, it will record, that's true. The person that has the recording is the person who's hosting the meeting. There's no immediately available way for the public to get the recording until they request it. There's no deciding later that night that you want to watch it. You have to wait until the office is open the next day and talk to Cassie and say, please give me the recording, and she can do that. But the issue at hand is, does the public have the ability to get to the recording for themselves?
Okay. I'm all ears, I'm just looking for,
but that would still allow them to participate in the meeting. That has nothing to do with it. They're here.
So the question is do we want the
this.
recorded copies of the meeting to be requested or posted to a place where they can be retrieved. Because you could post them to the city website, and people can go to the city website and watch the video.
Yeah, I mean,
That would be after at least one business day or the next day, correct?
We'd have to identify who's doing that, but yeah, I guess.
And that's kind of what I'm hearing now, these folks and what you've,
it could even be.
I mean, I would remind everyone that when we did it in COVID, we had Zoom and YouTube. Zoom has a built-in feature to stream to YouTube in it. It's not an either-or discussion. It is possible to have both. Whether the council wants to do that or not is another question.
I don't know, I think it's council data, it's council business, it should be posted to the council site, to the
Right.
city site, and that's my personal opinion.
I second that.
I've made my suggestions. If you guys want to do things, you figure out how to phrase it. This was my suggestion on how to move forward. So if someone's got a clear way of representing it, go for it.
So, I don't think everyone has, I mean, isn't Teams a platform that you have to have your Microsoft?
It is a subscription, yeah.
Yeah, so that eliminates a lot of capacity for people out there who
No,
don't.
you can make Teams videos publicly available, you can make Teams videos publicly available post-recording using Stream, you can, all of that's completely possible.
And it's free.
There's a single subscription for it, for the streaming, the Teams portion of it, yes.
And Zoom,
Also free. There's a free version.
There is a free version of Zoom.
It's limited to 45 minutes, so the city would have to get a paid version.
I meant as a user. Though,
As a user,
as a citizen.
yeah.
I could.
All of it would be free to the citizens.
Okay, I'll cut to the chase. What I'm hearing is we want all of it, is in a nutshell without officially asking for a vote. But we want to stream, we want to record, and we want to basically be interactive. Yeah. Okay.
and by
Which
stream-
gives us 3 technical platforms that you could use. You can use the Google services, you can use Microsoft services, or you can use any one of those 3. I would say it's up to the mayor to determine which solution would be best based on cost.
Okay.
Because I know Zoom can be expensive.
like how much, do you have an idea offhand?
I've not researched this at all.
That's why I'm saying we need to look at the cost requirements.
Okay. Then I'm going to have to do the research, find the costs, see where it fits in the budget. But I don't see this getting voted on tonight if there's not a clear platform decision.
Unless there's a vote to move to one of those 3 platforms.
And leave it up to,
You to decide which one of those 3 platforms we're gonna use.
we can do that too.
The consensus,
You said Google,
I don't know, I've never actually looked at Google's platform.
Zoom, or Teams?
Yes.
in experience, has anybody used Teams before?
I use it on a
Teams,
daily
every day.
basis.
Yeah, probably every day.
Which would be more user-friendly for your typical, in your opinions?
From a user perspective, Teams and Zoom are pretty much the same. There's not much difference from a user side perspective. You click on a link and it launches it'll either launch the app or it'll launch the app in a browser. It's
If you don't have the app installed, you can just launch it in any browser.
in any browser, any computer, any device.
Okay.
You want to participate from your cell phone, you can. You want to participate from your computer at home, you can. You want to turn on your video so people can see you, that can be done.
Okay. How does that word in a resolution?
I personally think we need more knowledge about where we're going and what it's gonna cost before we vote on it.
Okay.
At least I do.
Well, technically, we don't have a motion on the floor, so we can just table this.
So the council doesn't wish to do anything about the YouTube stream right now.
I'm hearing that we're not making a decision either way at the moment.
Well,
So it's running now,
Right.
which is,
Go ahead, what do you have?
You had a comment?
well, I think we'll continue to do as we're currently doing until a new solution's been chosen.
So I will work to find a solution to this on, what day is that? 11th? No, it was December. When's the second Tuesday in February?
11.
Tuesday's the 11th, Wednesday's the 12th.
Okay, February 12th?
February 12th, you said?
February 12th. And I will send you guys my analysis of those three platforms and what they can do and what they can't do and what the cost is. Sounds good.
Perfect.
Okay. So with that, I think we could probably skip the next two items on here, whether or not to record and whether to do online participation. It's kind of a moot point. All right. It was brought up in the last,
Actually,
yeah,
if we do move to one of those platforms, consent to record is part of it.
yes.
So,
Yeah. I got the impression that you guys wanted a
right,
platform that
but
does all three
if
of
you
those.
go to that type of a platform, users have to be notified that they are being recorded, and if somebody doesn't give consent to be recorded, the recording would have to stop, because they are not in a public space.
Okay.
That's built into those platforms.
It is.
They
When
should
you
ask
log
You
in-
have to- you have to-
When you log in, it notifies you, hey, you're being recorded. If you don't want this to be a recording, you have to leave.
Correct.
However, you can also message to say, I'm not giving consent, and the recording will need to be stopped. Otherwise, we're telling our constituents they're not allowed to participate unless they're willing to be recorded. So that would be a concern.
So when I was on the council, we didn't have, before COVID, we didn't have any of this. But we had a tape recorder, and then we had a digital. We started with a tape cassette, and then it went digital. And to Stephen's point earlier, it was a public space. No one asked, I mean, I get it if you're at your home or in your car, but I think, I don't know the legality of it, but if you're logging into a public meeting, I don't know that they have the authority to say, I don't want to be recorded, and then the whole thing has to stop. But to the points earlier, and I don't know.
It would be something we'd have to look
Sure.
into.
But
That's
to the
all I'm
points
saying.
Earlier, when people were here with the recorder, it was just a given that you were participating, whether you
Yep.
announced yourself or not, whether you gave, there was no video, but if you gave public comment or not, and they always said state your name, so it was on the record, but again, that was just audio, but again, that's part of your issue, is it sounds like the council wants, or utilizes that recording for later times, for meeting minutes, for audits, for.
We would just need to understand what the requirements would be if somebody didn't want to give consent.
Okay. I will get in touch with the city attorney and put that before him. Okay. Oops. Before we-
That cleared it up real quick.
What's that?
See, that cleared up our schedule a little bit.
Okay. Yes, okay, you guys had indicated last time you wanted to have some input on the cemetery donation letters that would go out. In going through some of our old records, I found quite a bit of information with regard to that process. Anything specific that you guys want to have added when that letter goes out next month?
I would like to have something pertaining to maintenance of the cemetery, not just to the endowment.
Okay.
Somehow that you could,
Include
I
a
want
checkbox
specifically
that says
want
this
this
is-
money to go to maintenance, whether it's for the mowing contract or the cemetery building or the water.
Did we have a copy of that letter? I'm not even sure what it says.
I found a copy that,
Because at one time I thought it did explain all that.
I've never received one, so I'd also like to know what the mailing list is.
Yeah, there, I was gonna bring that up, took that off. What's that?
we could try to take a break and get it printed right now, or I can send it to you, but actually, excuse me for just a second, I don't know.
See if it needs to be updated or anything
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
it needs to be updated. Well, I found the one.
Some of those people might have passed already.
Well,
Well, more than likely.
yeah. They're up there.
Yeah. Lock the door. No. No lead on.
When's the demo of the old building start?
This is one that went out 4
Maybe
years
March.
ago.
Or, oh, okay. When it's not in the teens
Yeah.
outside?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, donate to the endowment or the maintenance. And I like the idea about a
Can you read it
box
from that?
You kinda.
to check, because I know that was one of the questions sometimes when a check came in and it wasn't clear what they were asking, where they wanted the funds to go to.
I would suggest that it would say that funds should go to the maintenance fund unless otherwise specified.
Well, how many, to that point, how many people really even know what the endowment means? Yeah,
I would include a second page in the letter that explains the difference between the two.
and we don't have a Parks and Cemetery Committee per se anymore.
I thought Chris was gonna start that.
That's a whole nother ball of wax. And there's an entire process associated with that.
Have you read this, Mr. Mayor? Have you-
I'll confess I haven't. I just saw it, I briefly looked at it and said, oh, that's what that is, and went off to my next project.
Because in 2020, donations totaled $17,055. And this particular letter that's dated July 1st, 2021, our Parks and Cemetery Committee doesn't exist. And there's a few other things that, not sure where they,
Well,
but-
agreed,
but those are the
I'm not
things.
gonna cut and paste that and send it out.
But I mean, just ideas that, forget those particular,
You have a copy of last year.
you want to see it? I know Mr. Stan Roth did some extensive work and stuff on there, and I honestly, I don't know the
First of all, change the
current
form.
position it refers to in there about the burial plots and the the record keeping and all that? I'm not sure, because we did transition between that and then moving from City Hall over there to here. I'm not sure if those old records, where they're at.
Well, I think,
That's last year's.
Okay.
First of all, change the font.
I believe Deanne would
Okay.
probably know. Deanne takes care of the cemetery stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the font is.
Arabic medium.
More than likely, you're dealing with the elderly, or older generation here.
Careful.
Oh, just looking at that hurts my eyes.
Yeah, we do need to. This does mention all the funds. But at least give them choices what to donate to. Check that font out. Or did you want to look at that? See what I mean?
Yeah.
Outdated?
I mean, to Chris's point, if you're going to give them a choice, you're going to need to explain the choice. I would probably just push people towards the maintenance fund unless they know they want to go to the endowment. Some people will know they want to do the endowment, and that's fine, but either way, I don't care how many pages we send out.
Did you want to see it, Stephen?
Well, you can put it all on one page. It's just that newer one's got way better information in it. I would just kind of break it up a little bit so it actually clearly identifies what the two funds are and what they're used for.
Well, you were feeling fancy when you picked this font.
It just got done, to be blunt. I came in and it's like, are we getting that letter on those? Yep, it's gone. So,
I thought at one point in time there was 3 options. And I haven't done any research to look at it, but the one was an endowment, and then there was a maintenance, and there's something else going back. But it might not even be important at this point.
well, I would say this, maybe,
What do you ask? What do you need? Just input?
I'm just looking for input, so yeah.
When's
if
it
you guys-
going out?
February.
In February.
I would
So-
say,
So if you guys have a thought in addition to what you guys just said.
And
just-
to who is it going out?
To whom? Yeah.
To whom?
yeah, I would suggest,
Expanding the list.
Yeah, I've found, is there,
Do you have a number?
What's it cost to get the page in the chamber thing?
Oh, the quarterly thing?
Yeah.
That's,
Is it a
it's
freebie?
just costs them money to print it. It's free to anyone who puts
And
it.
then we wouldn't have to mail anything to.
Put it this way, does anybody in this room get a letter?
In the city, yeah. But the cemetery is a wider district. than
No,
that.
I
My parents were
understand
alive, they
that.
did.
Yeah, we could
but
use
I
that
have
part
not
of it.
received nothing. So, do you don't get a letter?
No. I would suggest this, that we actually print up a page and stick it in the quarterly chamber thing.
that's a great idea.
And then we,
Letters went out in 2023.
How many?
100.
100?
Approximately
Okay.
100.
and then mail, because I do have a person that lives in California that gets one and donates regularly. So there must be some sort of mailing list too.
well, I'd also like to know how you actually get on the mailing list.
You probably have relatives up there, is my guess.
Well, my dad's up there.
And you haven't got one.
Nope.
Well, my dad's up there too, and I haven't either, so.
So, my dad is too.
Well, congratulations. You get a letter.
I'm just, mom's gonna be up there eventually.
So 111.
111.
2023, perhaps last year. And from what I understand in my limited knowledge, is that they go out to people who have previously donated, thanking them for their support, and then asking if they would like to donate in the future.
Okay, that resonates with me. I've heard that before. years
Is
ago.
there a record of who it's been sent to over the past 10 years?
I think that this is just the most updated list that
I
I
would
have
s-
access to right now. I can do more digging at another time.
Yeah, I would suggest we do more digging and see if we can expand that list.
In true fashion, I think every donation envelope that we ever received, we still have.
We save every single letter, donation, a copy of the check.
So-
Deanne keeps very
The,
good
the,
records
the,
of
the
that.
city received, right?
We can make sure we have an updated, expanded list.
And then I agree with the putting one in the chamber letter.
Can we
That way-
have a copy of what we're gonna put in there by next meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Anything else on that topic?
I can't think of anything right at the moment. I think you're good.
Okay. Next on the agenda is it's really a bit of housekeeping. In June, I presented the 6-year transportation improvement plan. And then I discovered that we were actually supposed to be doing a resolution to accept that every year. And the last time we did it was 2019. So,
Time flies.
They weren't clear.
so that being said, the issue was as we were going through the process of getting the paperwork done for the ADA, the ramp, ADA ramp, compliant ramp thing that we approved last week, they need the resolution that matches that, showing that that's been part of our plan.
So moved.
So,
Or move to approve.
Second.
okay. Thank you.
Should be called the 5 year, I mean, each year it should go down.
No, it should be added to every year before it gets
refresh.
reapproved.
Yeah, exactly.
What's on it?
And if you go through the resolutions over the years and you look at what was on it and what actually happened, it's limited. I think about the only thing that got done was Adams Street.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I throw pothole repair on that.
well, I'm gonna bring that up in the mayor's comments. Yeah.
Okay, so,
Sorry, you didn't open it for discussion yet. But
Well, we do have a first and a second on the floor, so any further discussion?
the ADA compliant ramps, how's that gonna work? I mean, we have that work already scheduled or approved. It doesn't really matter, does
We've
it?
accepted the grant to finish up the paperwork for me to sign the contract that we accepted. They needed this, so this, like I said.
so they
this
just
is-
need this approved too.
Yeah, they need a copy of that, and then we go through the rest of the engineering and bidding and, identifying which ones where. I mean, he's already identified the 21, if we can stretch that out to more of them. I'd like him to find some corners that don't have anything right now, and so we can get a little bit of sidewalk work out of it.
Claims in one of those folders.
Okay, Sherlock, okay, so. On number 11 is the only thing I'm trying to, it says Second Street from State Route 23, Sherlock Street. to south city limits.
So that's actually not work we're doing, that's, and it's been, I just took what has been being passed down. As part of that, there's always, those are being declared as arterials within the city.
But I'm just trying to wrap around where, from Second Street, that's up to you, Second, right, from there? And, because Sherlock basically runs east-west. See if that makes any sense to you, remember where, maybe I'm turned around here. Shouldn't it be west?
It would be
then?
Second, it says Second Street from, would be Sherlock, from the old Grangor's office up to the golf course clubhouse is
Okay.
what that means to me.
Okay.
And that street's already been done. So
Yeah.
what's it?
No, it's not saying we're, okay, the first part of it is just identifying these are arterials within the city of Harrington. It's not
Okay.
saying we're working on them.
Okay.
Yeah, one is, here's the project.
The
The
backside
other
is the
side is
project.
here's the arterials of the city. They're basically calling out what roads actually exist.
Yeah, so, anybody else?
I looked at it.
You can just start anywhere in Harrington and pick a street.
Making sure the road I live on's not on there,
No, that's not ready for arterial.
even though it's treated that way.
Okay, any further discussion?
Good.
All in favor of accepting the resolution of our 6-year transportation improvement plan, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 500. Thank you very much. And yeah, remember I'll end up trying to research which one's next, so. Okay. Okay, next on the agenda is to vote to accept the Sunshine Disposal's proposal for a 90-day extension of our existing contract. We are actually out of contract at this point. It expired on December 31st. They wanted to arrange a new 5-year contract. They pulled that back and want to do just a 90-day extension to the end of March, basically to buy us both time to get this right and to fix some of the problems that we have.
What are some of the problems that they see or what they brought up?
The number one biggest issue is the number of people who have either not been paying their bills or have requested their service be canceled. And it's a matter of me working with them on how to get enforcement for people, because the acceptance or the taking of getting garbage service is mandatory and compulsory.
Then we need to take the building services back.
Okay, I did, at you guys' request, speak to the city attorney about doing that, and he recommends against it. It's gonna increase the rates, it's gonna increase the headache within here of having the additional time to put records and updates and everything. And as I reread through our codes, our codes don't define who is billing garbage. If the garbage is not getting paid, right now, we can actually turn off somebody's water and sewer. because they've not paid their garbage to Sunshine. We can do
Well,
that.
you get rid of.
Well, if the state would allow it, which they won't.
Well, I'm just saying our codes say we can.
Our codes say many
attorneys-
things.
Our attorney's recommendation was that we implement an administrative fee to the residents, not a fine, because a fine is challengeable and they can.
It's a naughty
fine.
word.
Well, it's just, it puts it in a whole different legal setting.
Yeah.
We can apply an administrative fee to get people to, you know, that we have to go out and reach out to them and we're having to do extra duty because they're not paying a bill or
Well, if it-
all the rest of the stuff that's going on. It becomes a compliance issue.
Another thing I'd say about that, if it can't afford to pay it now or don't want to pay it, adding more to the heap isn't gonna make it any better.
So as I said before,
So
the names seem to always be recurring.
Okay,
what
so
was the city's recourse when the city was dealing with the building?
we just
and
picked
people
up,
weren't paying?
we just picked up the bill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's why we went 20, 30 grand in the hole every year.
yeah.
Okay.
Because especially after COVID, basically all of our avenues for enforcement are illegal.
So you weren't putting liens on property, you weren't,
Well, it wasn't being done. I mean, when I got here, they're now doing it all, and it wasn't until November before they gave me a list of 20 names that
Yeah.
they had either not paid or requested their service be canceled. And why, for the life of me, they just went ahead and adhered to that, but
because
That's what I'm
I've
saying.
freely admitted in the past, I mean, I've been here for, what, close to 10, a little over 10 years. And when I first moved to town, I missed my bill for 2 months, and I got a notice that if I didn't pay my bill, I was gonna get a lien put on my house. So,
But you also are a responsible resident.
well, that's different. But
But we're-
at least the city has some recourse of actually reclaiming the funds. You can't sell the house. You can't do anything with the house until the lien's paid off.
Well,
Well, that's-
there's another big bugaboo. That's what everybody thinks, and that's what it
one
should be.
thinks, and that's
But
what it should be.
Yeah, but
The
that's
county
not.
does not.
Guess what?
The county does not pull the title, or pull the. not
They
the
don't
title.
search
They
for
don't-
liens.
They don't, when somebody comes in and transfers a title on a property, they do not search for liens. They do not hold up that transfer.
So the lien can technically live forever.
Yes.
And the poor sap that moves into it usually gets stuck with it.
And they
Or
can
can't-
stuck-
Especially in this
Yeah.
town where so many houses are sold for cash and there's no title search ever done.
Mm-hmm.
We're not giving people
And
ideas. we're
back
just-
when you got that notice, things were, I mean, David and I watched things change. It was like every 2 months we get another thing from our lawyer telling us that we can't do that, can't do that. That would turn people out of your house, can't do that. So,
But I also thought during the COVID situation, there was a, whatever the governor put, they didn't have to pay, but it was not a freebie.
and some of it got repealed. To be clear, some of it got repealed, but it never got, it didn't go back to
Full
the way it
status?
was before.
But they were supposed to be, it wasn't free, but when the restrictions were lifted, they were supposed to make a payment plan and pay
Yeah.
that back.
Yes.
I don't know where that kind of got swept under the carpet.
we got-
didn't really forgive anything.
No.
We couldn't take any action and their bill continued to accumulate.
Yeah.
What happened?
And since that, there were some high-ticket properties or houses that were sold, hence, that didn't have a lien on them or a judgment, whatever on them, that we got stiffed with, or the city did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's something I'm looking into to see if we can send those off to collection for the former owners.
And explain that for, the collection is, once you file it, you can only collect, you're to collect a percentage, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, from that point on, today is collections. So say it's $1,000, and however, it could go up to 10,000, you can only collect 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's the drawback.
Yeah, I can tell you from a lien point of view, we can only lien, we can't lien any further than 6 months of water. No, 4 months of water, 6 months of sewer,
Mhm.
and garbage is unlimited.
Garbage is unlimited?
Yeah, so if somebody didn't pay for 12 months and we didn't do anything against it, we did put a lien on it, we can only do the cost of water for 4 months, the cost of sewer for 6 months, but all the garbage can be on there. But the bottom line is, if you guys.
My concern is if you have so many people dropping service, you can't force them to turn it back on.
Well, that's what I'm saying, we can, and our enforcement tool is we can turn off, believe it or not, we can turn off their water.
And tell them to go reestablish their Sunshine account?
Yes.
Are you? No, you're saying that's what our ordinances say.
Yes.
I would bet money right here and now the state will not allow us to do that. When was that ordinance written?
Last
I
year.
would have to look.
Yeah, there's.
I'm just going by what our current code
I know,
says.
but things that were written in the 90s did not survive the last 4 years of. There's a reason why homelessness and all sorts of things in Washington have gone the way they've gone.
Well, and that may be why
Yeah.
our attorney recommended just applying an administrative fee to their bill.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I get that. You could, what was my question? Oh.
So really, the issue at hand on this is that they're asking for 90 days for us to get all this stuff hammered out.
Okay, don't want to lose that fact. Part of the beauty was let them take over and do their job, was they were responsible for shaking down these people. So now they're trying to turn the table on us?
Mm-hmm.
There's some confusion there, yes.
Well, I mean, that's what it looks like.
Exactly.
So was it written into the agreement for them to take over trash services that they were responsible for missed payments and billing and all of that stuff? And they're responsible for collections?
Well,
Or was it written in that we are still responsible for that?
I don't think it was written that way.
Well, collections was certainly written in. I don't know if it was missed payments were specifically addressed. He might not have been. But I know that was the crux of what we were doing, was to give collections over to them.
See,
As of April 1st, the billing went to them. I'm just reading. No, it's on them. The contractor will perform all billing to such customers and all collection of such charges effective April 1st forward.
imagine that.
Yeah, funny.
So what they're proposing,
So basically, they need to reinstate every account that was terminated, because they're required to have one.
Mm-hmm.
And any billing associated with that account, even if it's a $0 administration fee for the account because they don't have a trash can, they still have to have the account.
Mm-hmm. You see, they have something in their back pocket that Avista doesn't have. A legal mandate that the customer takes service. I don't know if I'm just dense, but I don't understand their problem. Every business deals with people trying to steal product. Or not, in this case, not wanting to take service, but it's essentially because it's legally required. If you're still taking the service and you're not paying for it, that's theft of product. So I don't understand why they feel like they're unique, that they shouldn't have to deal with this when it's in the contract that they deal with collections.
yeah, but the difference with Vista, they shut stuff off and that'll hurt them, where they don't care if you,
They can
shut my garbage off.
Well, they can stop. They can stop pulling the can. The person's required to have garbage service, right? But
Yeah, but they're not required to have a garbage can.
correct.
People aren't gonna care if they're piled up
You're
garbage out
required to have an
front.
active account with
But
the
they'll-
garbage man.
But they'll care if their lights
You're
down.
not required to have a
Right.
garbage can itself.
Anyways, I move the extension for 90 days.
I'll second it,
Okay.
but more discussion.
Yes.
In this, and I don't want to be a dead horse here, or sound redundant, but the issues they have are non-payment and cancellation services. They're not making enough money, right? How about how about the fact that a lot of people reduced their can size refuge or container
Well,
size?
Yeah, and
Was that
we will
mentioned?
we'll have to be, they mentioned it to me verbally.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
they knew that was going to happen to a certain degree. There were a number of,
Yeah.
remember there was a disproportionate number of dumpsters.
Mhm.
Those have all, not all, but a number of them have gone away. So between, they had not gotten me solid numbers, but when I met with them, they were thinking probably a 10% rate increase that they were gonna ask
Well,
us to approve.
And I'm not in favor, from the get-go, Stephen and I have worked on this immensely.
Yep.
In my opinion, everybody should have the same size and be done with it at an affordable price. There's too much wiggle room here, and the reason why I say that is because dealing with Sunshine now, they're not, whatever they're offering, I want a hard number. When people, the variables are, everybody, half of them, you come up with this, they'll do it for this. Everybody's on 96 gallon, and that's too damn much. So they go down to the 32 or 34, so that buffer, that quote that they gave us is no longer valid. They're not making as much money, so they're gonna turn around and,
Well, we did the math on what rates we were
Yeah.
going to have to set, and they were going to be a fair amount higher. And then they came along and said they could do it for lower. And it seems like our math was correct and their math was wrong, because we're going to, even the rate changes that they're talking about thus far, that 10% plus dealing with whatever non-payment they're getting, which is what we were dealing with before and we were trying to make go away, they're going to get right back up to, or where we're above
Yeah.
where we were going to be ourselves.
Yeah, and I don't have the letter with me. I did get the letter that the counties, I think,
they're
off
raising.
the top of my head, it was 4%. 4.5% is what they were going to increase the
So-
solid waste fees.
So they're going up 4.5, probably closer to 5, probably.
I don't think it was 5. I think it was
Um,
4.5.
And Sunshine wants to go up, so that's 15%?
No. Lincoln counties would be part of what Sunshine is. That's part of it.
Oh, okay, so before we were doing the billing, it
them
was too.
directly.
Right,
Yeah,
because we
gotcha.
don't pay tipping fees anymore.
Yeah.
So they'd be going up, what, 5.5% Sunshine?
You ever find out how much a garbage truck costs?
Well, honestly, if, unfortunately, we're all hit in the pocketbook, no matter what, by groceries, okay? That, in the grand scheme of things, would be the only way we could be self-sustaining and save the citizens here, is if we did our own refuge pickup. But then again, there's a huge overhead getting
Even
into
if
it.
somebody gave us a truck, the cost of maintaining those to the standards that they hold dump trucks to, which is probably one of the most arduous in the trucking industry. I mean, holy crap. It'd be a lot.
Right. So, going forward, what is our options? Is everybody,
Do it ourselves. That's about it. I mean, we did our due diligence. Between you and I, we reached out to 4 other companies.
Mm-hmm.
That's the commercial market. County's not offering to do it for us, so the only other option is do it ourselves. You take what Sunshine gives you, or you get a garbage truck. That's
And
the
doing
only things left.
I agree, and to Chris's point, thought about this. If we took over we were just the billing end of it.
Mm-hmm.
We would have to shake people down. The price, it wouldn't be any cheaper.
Yeah, we can't get any cost savings in the middle of it. We don't get any break from Lincoln County on the tipping fees. We don't get any break from Sunshine. You can play with the numbers all you want, but unless we're doing the pickup of the cans ourselves, you're still paying Sunshine, you're still paying Lincoln County, and it's still mostly the same amount of money.
Yeah.
You can massage some dollars and cents and get Sunshine to do some dumb math like they did last year and get caught for it, but they aren't going to do that year over year. I mean, I'm sorry, but we ran these numbers over and over and over again. Cassie's laughing, but they were 10% too low from the beginning, and we were asking ourselves, how did they come in this low? Well, they did their math wrong.
They
worked
wanted
it-
us to switch.
Hey,
That's why.
You work
Yeah,
the numbers, I work the numbers, it's not together, and we come out with a few cents of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So
We did.
The reality is too, that the city never, until we gave them the billing and we included them, the rate changes for the cans, we'd not raised our solid waste fees at all for quite some time. So that was kind of on us.
Well-
We were going in the hole because they were charging more
Oh, yeah, every year.
and we never adjusted.
Right.
And the dumpsters were way underwater.
And what they did, and this is where the contract, I think, was poorly written. Whether it's binding, but I mean, I know it's binding, but for 2-year, 4-year, whatever they were, we were locked into this, but they also threw in their fuel. Well, we all know what fuel is done in the course of the term of that contract, so that would go up, and so it was a no-win situation. You know, Lincoln County, I mean, there was one year, several of them, they went up 13% between the two of them.
Get an electric garbage truck.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll make it from here to Rockland. And then the public works will be jumping them with a battery charger. No,
Nice.
but, you know, I mean, I know it's a subject people are probably getting tired of listening to, but, you know, this is a big thing. I mean, we're gonna have to come up with something, a solution, and ideally, if you had your own truck and it weighed the garbage can individually, so the customer would pay, because when the tipping fees, when you dump it over there, it's you pay by the weight. So
The thing is, even if you didn't weigh it, if somebody wants a dumpster, you pay a service charge for having a dumpster. And the cost of actually having the dumpster. That mitigates the increased tipping fees of the dumpsters. It's a choice.
Yeah.
You pay the extra amount if you want a dumpster. You want a plastic bin, you don't have to pay the extra amount.
well, you're a good example. You have a business, and you probably create. I don't know. I would think you create a substantial amount of refuge.
Oh, I do, I fill that
Yeah.
1 yard dumpster up every week.
But I don't think I personally don't like to gouge the customer. I mean, I don't like, who likes to pay a bunch more for something?
But then,
But
I'm
it's
also
fair.
paying for a 1 yard dumpster at my house that I may fill up once every 2 months.
But that's a choice, and
Exactly.
I get it. But I think a guy needs to. I mean, the fairest way is to weigh him. You know,
True.
anyway, what you put in a
I could
ton
put-
or
I could put-
feathers?
I could fill it up with 50 pounds of cardboard of unbroken down boxes, or I can fill it up with
Drywall.
drywall, which weighs 6 times the amount, 7 times the amount.
Yep.
So
If the truck will pick it up.
Volume doesn't equal weight.
So yeah,
We've
so-
gone through all.
For the sake of this, this is all a very good argument.
yes, we need to extend the contract.
yeah, we said yes, and so this is just discussion point. Let's take a vote.
Okay, all in favor of accepting the 90-day extension?
Aye.
Thank you. With that, I
Now
will
it's too late to
promise you, we will have this conversation and length in the next, this goes to the end of March 31st, so,
I would suggest a public hearing on it.
I think we need to just, there's a couple of other things we need to schedule a public hearing on, so I think we need to just get that.
We need to get
in
all
February.
everybody in town to participate in the decision.
Yeah.
And I
because-
would suggest consideration of what would it cost to get the city a dump truck, or a garbage truck.
Yeah, I'd be totally against that. That's foolish in my, as much as they cost, as much as they maintain, and then finding somebody to drive it.
Very good.
So,
It's only $1 a
To
day.
drive the city truck, you have to have a CDL.
I understand, I just think it would be foolish to do it ourselves.
It's only $1 a day for garbage. Okay, that's $30 a month. It's only $1 a day for basically water. What's hurting the people when they're not paying their bills is our sewer system.
You had to cut
It's
that.
outrageous,
It is.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
That should be $1 a day also. But the boondoggle of 2006
and before.
I've got a
Yeah.
$27,000 a year bill that I'm paying, so that's tough to do at $1 a day. Okay, next item on the agenda was additions to the agenda, and Creighton, you said you wanted to give a cemetery update?
Got the okay from the Braun Foundation for around 10 grand, up to 10 grand. The council said that they would pitch in $3,000, and Stephen and I talked about this, and I think instead of trying to divide it up, that you pay for the electricity, then for the electrical, and then donate the rest, if the city would just write a check to the shed for $3 grand, and then the club or the Braun Foundation will pick up the electrical. It makes more sense billing wise for you just to.
That way we never end up having a reimbursement of $3,000 to a
Yeah.
private citizen. We can pay an invoice directly to a company.
This is probably gonna come out of initially my credit card.
So I will say this, to make that decision formally, we'll have to put that on the agenda.
That's fine.
The next time around.
But I'm gonna order the building because the building is on sale till the 31st of January. It's $12,400. Sorry, $407. And then there'll be whatever the electrical is on top of that.
This is all being done through the Lions Club, correct?
It's to the Lions Club. Yeah, the Lions Club is the instigator.
So-
We're sticking in at least a couple thousand, Homemakers 1,000.
So shouldn't the city be issuing the check to the Lions Club? since they're
Well, we could
instigating
we could do that if you think that's the easier way to do it. It doesn't matter to me.
From a bookkeeping point of view, I think writing it to the manufacturer makes sense, because then it's a very clear indication of our money going straight to.
That was my thought
benefit
as
of the
well.
Cemetery and not.
Lions Club would be the next best thing with it. I just don't really want to write a $3,000 check to a private citizen for reimbursement.
this? Yeah,
Agree, yeah.
I think it should go to the Lions Club,
Okay.
because then they can provide us a receipt.
Well, so can the building
So we'll.
manufacturer.
It doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter to me.
Can I, we'll have to put that on the next agenda item.
That's fine.
As an action item.
That's fine. I just wanted to let you give you an update.
Okay. All right, you guys have the January 8th council, meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the January 8th minutes. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Dave? Creighton, did you get it? You probably haven't had a chance to read
Don't
them.
have a copy. I'm just going to abstain.
I don't know if you want to read them or just,
He was here for it too, so.
I'm going to abstain.
okay. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain?
Me.
4-0-1. Thank you. Same question for the January 11th.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, a motion to approve the January 11th, arguably one of the shortest council meetings this town has ever seen.
No comment or no discussion on one comment.
If there's no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstain?
Me.
Thank you. 4-0-1. All right.
Claims?
Claims.
Okay, that is.
Observe the check report, the check register for January 8th and 11th. One thing to point out on that is there's some checks that need to go out the door like right away, so our check register actually reflects some checks that were written on the 17th that have not left yet, but they're on the check register, so.
And this is just observe?
That's an observe, yeah.
Can I see it real quick?
Or, I'll be straight up, I got so many pieces of paper out. I think that's
claim.
that's
What-
claims.
what's our-
Yeah, that's claims.
Right here. What's that one?
Good. Okay. Any further questions on that? Okay.
The Wheatland Bank credit card, those invoices are in here?
Yes.
Well,
Well,
are we on claims?
We're going there next. Approve the new claims for January 22nd.
I'll put it in discussion. Move to approve.
second.
Okay. First and a second, further discussion.
So in regard to the invoices, I mean, that credit card bill that you have on there is big. I'm assuming most of that, correct me if I'm wrong, is Amazon charges within the city's Amazon account on your card?
No. Okay, so there's two the only way I can tell the two invoices apart is one has a $20,000 credit limit and the other one has a $5,000 credit limit.
Well, they say Joseph Armand and
Oh, they
Cassandra
do?
next
Okay.
to the bottom.
So, they are not all specific city. There was quite a few purchases at the end of the year by the library.
Well, but that should have been under Cassie's card, right?
They used Joe's for their first big order on the 6th,
Okay.
and then they used mine for later.
But all of that was within the city's Amazon account.
Yes.
Okay. So that I don't feel like I need to see the list of as much other council members may, but my thing is I would request, I also saw, I think, at least one Costco in there. If you're getting reimbursed, please include copies
No.
of the receipt.
No, those, I've got the city credit card.
Sure,
If
no,
anything's
well,
From
okay.
Costco, it's coming.
Okay, but-
I'm using that card.
Well, okay, I shouldn't have said reimbursed because you're right, it's the city's card, it's not a reimbursement. But my point is, as far as the invoices of what we're spending on, there's no record in here of what was bought in Costco.
Yeah, so we can make sure that any invoice that is on that is attached to those credit card statements as it pertains.
Every purchase made
Okay.
is here. I keep records.
Yeah, I'm not, I'm sure that we have it, I'm just talking about,
I can include that in the invoice folder. For
I would, just because it allows, if there's any questions, this is the kind of thing I was hoping to, like, when I see $2,000 on a credit card, I'd like to kind of flip through because I knew there was going to be library purchases, so I was already like, okay, a lot of Amazon
When I
money
saw that it was a
doesn't,
$3,700 bill, that
yeah.
so we were talking about it earlier, it's like, okay, what is all this stuff? Because
Yeah.
Okay. No,
yeah.
this is perfect. I would just say, please put that in the folder, or put it in a adjacent folder next time.
So the Amazon receipts and all
Yeah,
that
I
are
will
printed off
include- I will include all of those.
and then
together.
Costco receipts are actually included and returned to.
Every purchase made on either credit card, I have to reconcile a receipt with the charge to make sure it all matches up. So I will just I'll make double copies, one for myself and one for you.
Costco is, always gonna be the toilet paper and, every now and again, you have
No.
cleaning products and it's cheaper to buy bleach. Well, it used to be cheaper to buy bleach there. I actually can get bleach delivered here from Amazon cheaper than I can buy it at Costco.
You should get an account with US Food.
Right.
With who?
US Foods.
Oh, okay,
US
yeah,
Foods
got it.
or URM, one of the two,
Yeah. True.
So,
because they drive right through here once a week.
I mean, we don't get that much bleach, but there's, every now and again, if they have to go work in a manhole that's that kind of manhole, they try to sanitize it a bit before they go in it.
Well, it's smart, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't cut corners there, so.
Any cleaning supplies for in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good idea.
Okay. Well, thank you, like I said, I thought it was.
This is awkward time to be not having a consent.
Okay,
agenda,
any
or
further
we just
discussion on the
don't-
claims?
You don't.
Negative.
Talk with Joe.
Okay.
It's his
I'm good.
agenda.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor of accepting the claims, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain?
I voted aye for that.
Thank you. Okay.
When it comes to money, I'll.
I'm not used to, I'll get used to your voice. Mayor's comments. Let me get to my sheet here. Okay, we've got some, I'm just gonna give you the guys a heads up, we've got some housekeeping things we're gonna need to do also in the next council meeting. One is, unless one of you guys wanna do it, I need to write a resolution to take us out of that emergency, water emergency for the well. It's all the bills are paid and all the rest of it, so the water well, when we declare the emergency, to
Right,
get the
right.
well
I just thought we were-
replaced, the well motor, we've never canceled
I
that.
can do
so-
it if you want.
So, I'd like to schedule the next employee handbook workshop.
I'd like to say I won't miss that one.
Yeah, I was in a fire meeting, it fitted for my gear, so it was bad timing.
Today's the 22nd. Any idea, any preferences? I like sticking it to an hour and a half, to be honest with you.
I would suggest do it right before the next council meeting, with like a 30-minute break in between.
5th.
Well, the next council meeting's gonna be
we'll
February
do
12th,
so 10 to 11.
so we've got 2 Wednesdays before then.
You wanna do it
Well,
on
yeah, but
Wednesday?
You've also got Lions Club, you've got
Right.
where folks won't be able to attend.
I'm open, but I think it's gonna take us longer now, but if you're just gonna limit it to that,
Well, I mean, we could spend 10 hours on it. I mean, it's,
well,
you know, how much,
what I have in mind, I don't think it would take us one good press on it, I think we can get it. Cause it's not too far out of whack, I don't think.
I think you'll spend a lot of the time talking about the time off.
Yeah, different thing, like, I mean, so, we could do another,
Everything else is just,
yeah, boilerplate, I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, so,
Schedule an hour and a half before the next council meeting.
well, if we had a half an hour off, like you said, then it'd be a 5 o'clock meeting,
5 o'clock.
5 to 6:30.
5 to 6:30, 30-minute break, and then council.
We could give it a shot. If we're not too wore out, we might cancel the meeting. Council meeting. No, just kidding. Yeah, that'd be fine. I think we'll be okay.
Okay. So February 12th.
Got everybody? Or
It's
is
not
there a committee?
mandatory, but
No, it's just a workshop. It's just not recorded.
public
not-
workshop.
Yeah, public workshop. Okay.
And this particular workshop is mainly about the handbook.
Okay. Wanted to let you guys know that I've been requested to get our one of our public works persons scheduled for their weed control test at the March testing time.
thank you.
Cool. Did you get that correspondence I sent to you a while back about February?
Yeah,
The pre-licensed class and then the next
all that
day?
to them. Yeah,
Okay.
they've been reading the book, and then they found out that there was a module specifically to administer pesticides or herbicides in right-of-ways, public right-of-ways, and so they added that to it. So they're going to make sure that they're certified there too as well. So basically, they pointed out they better get it done in March and April, otherwise the
Okay.
test sites traveling to the west side.
Yeah.
So.
Every year, I should say, well, it's been that way for the last 30 years, but 25. It's in Spokane up there in February. So,
Yeah, well, he knew that wasn't gonna work because of
Yeah.
my next tidbit. I wanted to let you guys know that Lance has introduced our newest resident to Harrington this
Cool.
morning.
Congratulations.
So Public Works gentleman and his partner had their child this morning, so yay, welcome.
Cool.
We touched on this earlier about setting a public meeting for the garbage, but we also need to set a public meeting to discuss water.
What, water?
Water. So,
Oh, yeah.
so, we have an offer on the table that we've not accepted to do the loan slash forgiveness grant, what have you, to get a new well dug. And we need to get, you guys wanna have, and we absolutely have to have public input on
Yeah, but
doing
didn't
that.
we also just approve the survey to find out where that would go?
Yeah. Yeah, two separate things. So the process of finding it and then getting the well dug and the monies and all the rest of it, that's gonna take a bit longer. I'm meeting with Department of Health tomorrow here at 10 to look at the various sites to make sure that they are accepted. They don't wanna go any further until we find an acceptable location
Right.
to put it. So Department of Health has to basically, the County Department of Health has to sign off on the location. So, and if the locations that we've identified that the city owns those properties, if they're not gonna work, then it's back to the drawing board and we'll figure out what we're gonna do next.
Okay, because I thought we just got a grant to actually figure out where we can
That's
put
what-
wells.
The height.
Yeah, that's for the geo
Survey.
engineer survey. But we wanna make sure that if he says, yeah, this is a great place, you're gonna find water here, and then we find out that on the surface it's not acceptable, then, okay, so
We're
that
dead
was a
in the
waste,
water.
so.
Okay, so you're just looking to have the county tell you what's acceptable from a location for any
When they're
well?
looking around and they say, okay, no, this is acceptable or not acceptable based on the environment around where there's a potential to put a well, so.
So when that's being considered, I would hope well, I guess maybe this depends on what gets X'd first, but we should be talking about adjacent farm ground and stuff too, because if let's say just for a hypothetical, none of the properties we own are acceptable, then to move forward, we'd have to purchase, and you're gonna most likely be able to purchase farm ground is gonna be right. So it's like, if we're gonna have people study things around Harrington, we shouldn't just look at the properties we own unless we think we're gonna have a pretty high batting average of finding something that works.
Right, the way I see it is if we can get the property that we already own to say a green light, and if they find a reasonable
Yeah.
logic to put it there.
Well,
But if
okay,
they don't-
let me put it another way. The concern that I have is we have a really tight timeline because we have to accept or reject that funding by June, right? So we don't have time to run one round and then realize that none of the properties we have don't work and then have to reschedule and say, okay, now let's look at the adjacent properties. Like,
The
we have to get all of
geosurvey has
these
to be
things
done by the end of June.
Right, so I'm saying these things need to tell us everything about all the property around Harrington that's applicable regardless of whether we own it or not, first time through, or else we're not gonna have a vote for June.
Yeah, but that being said, we need to get it on the front side of this for public hearings for the next step, which is actually the funding of drilling a well.
Yeah.
Have we done where we stand on official testing of number one well right now?
I have been playing phone tag with the different well, or
Irrigators in court?
irrigate, yeah. So,
Because I think a lot of that information will be very valuable in the public.
absolutely. I just don't wanna not move forward in one area because I'm waiting to get another area done. It's like, you're gonna have to throw it all together. I mean, it's gonna create a lot of variables, but.
Are you spun
what I'm
up
saying.
on what we're talking about? Okay.
A little. Okay, so. Do we? The 12th is gonna be nuts, but we do have time to do a public hearing on the 12th to advertise for it.
Fine, if it goes like most public hearings, there won't be anyone here to talk about it anyway.
Well, and hook the Zoom.
Well, that's unfortunate, because I mean, we're talking about, the need to increase water rates comparatively.
Over $1 a day.
I think so.
about that in addition. Okay.
Times 20.
Yeah, it would be a doubling of the rates.
If, to go for that loan you're talking about.
Well, those aren't my numbers. I believe Joe had made mention that he said that it would be about $30 a month to service the loan
Yeah,
per bill.
$30.20
More.
per month per household.
More than what they're paying.
So question, are you planning on starting to read meters or not?
What we did last summer, and yes.
But we weren't charged any for that. At least I was not.
Then you didn't go.
Over 5,000.
Oh, I know I did.
Well, if you, okay.
I thought I did and I didn't.
I mean,
I
it's
know I
public
did.
knowledge, but
Right.
it's only 25 cents per 1,000 gallons.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, I told the council at the time, I put a water meter on one leg of my irrigation. I know that just one of my legs of my irrigation used more water than my entire bill some months. So, and
That's a
I
work in progress, getting meters.
don't think my meter was damaged because it's one of the newest meters in town and it's lived its whole life inside my house, which is another problem. But
Running backwards.
I mean, it's like there's no reason for.
He's got a row.
So,
I don't think we were reading correctly. I think we were missing zeros on some of them.
okay. Well, we're going to have a new meter reader.
I would suggest the meter reader actually take pictures of the meters.
I'm not saying that Cade necessarily. I'm not saying he did a poor job. I'm saying I think if I understand it correctly, there's different little digital faces on some of them, and some of them have the zero, and some of them don't.
They're not uniform.
And
Not
that's
the same meter, yeah.
right. And so that's the thing is that I don't think we were properly accounting for which ones needed an added zero.
Some are measuring in hundreds, others are measuring in
Thousands, yeah.
Tens,
And you've
hundreds,
got to
thousands.
pay attention to which it is when you're reading it. So, yeah, I agree. It's just a little.
And some are in people's basements.
Mine's in my basement. I think I only got asked for a picture of it once. So the answer is yes. We're definitely reading meters and going to continue and get that cleaned up. So
Yeah.
again, one of those situations
And we
where the same
budgeted,
person
we
doing it for
budgeted for
years.
some meter replacement.
I mean, I have no problem paying for what I use. And I've had a well out at the farm. This is a lot cheaper and easier.
Okay, back to my.
As long as we have one.
Okay.
You do pretty
Okay.
well on that.
Last item I wanted to let you know, because I don't think anybody here was on council when this little fun fest started. I think, pretty sure our wastewater treatment plant design is approved next week,
Okay.
Yay!
which means we will be going out to bid very shortly thereafter. Get the work done. So.
And what was the guy in charge? Not Steve Marsh, but
Andy Tom.
Andy Tom, thank you.
So that's the rebuild of the plant.
The experimental plant that we put in years ago.
So while we still pay off the old one, it'll be all stripped out.
Yeah, well, the second new one. If
Yeah, I know.
The plan's right, it was done.
It's like paying your car payment on
and
the
then
car
it was
that's been totaled.
redone. Yeah, it's like constantly having, your trade-in is less than the loan value, and you keep on pushing that amount down the road, so.
And
It's
we
kind of
didn't
like
do
that
it.
combine program that these guys are on.
Not me, I'm retired.
$500,000 for a combine, you pay $50,000 every year, but you still, to get a different one, but you still have to pay that original $500,000 off.
So that's all I have.
Goofy deal, man.
Do they sell grease with that?
And you have one that's 2-3 years old, and you're
At the part of so we have public comments in the beginning of the council meeting at the end, and you're our last remaining public, so. If you have any comments to make, this would be your opportunity.
I don't have any comments. I had a couple questions that through stuff that you were.
Fire away.
Oh, okay. Do I have to stand up? Can I just?
No.
Okay. No. I'm a little bit hard of hearing, so I thought I heard you say something about something about the public works and something about pesticides and
So,
fertilizers or something, or
Yeah.
spraying, or what was that?
yeah, the weed situation that grows here is phenomenal. You'll go from no weeds to 6 foot, 7 foot high weeds in no time flat. So we're getting you have to have a license to put down pesticides and herbicides. So our guys are getting the license to do that ourselves, so we don't have to hire it to be done.
That's herbicide.
And that has to be done because of like all the farming and stuff, right, and the weeds, I mean.
No,
Well,
it's state law.
Yeah, it's
You
state
have to
law.
have a license to spray unless it's residential, so.
But I guess my question is like, we have to use this
Are you sensitive?
poisonous stuff to kill all the weeds
Well,
because,
if the WSU, the extension agent office has, you can get on a list, actually it's not WSU, it's a state, publishes a list of pesticide sensitive individuals. And if you don't want it around your place, you could sign up, no spray, you don't spray.
okay. I just read about animals.
Oh, I've
Like having the dogs
I've got
outside.
animals too. I'd rather have them spray the weeds. I'd
These
rather
are-
keep them
these
inside
are
for a day
animals throughout the
and
city.
spray the weeds.
It's the weeds at our shop. It's the weeds on the city's properties.
Sewer
Okay.
lagoon?
And this around
Yeah,
the
it's not
sewer-
spraying people's property. It's,
No, yeah.
Spraying the
let's put it
city's
this way. If kochia starts growing along the sidewalks out here, you'll have a tree farm along this road unless they spray it.
Okay, so it's this in the city,
It's just the
City
city's,
streets
the
or-
city's
Not
street
just not the
property.
buildings
Yeah,
and
not
stuff
the
like
property.
that.
It's city right of ways. It's, I mean, if you have a bunch of weed problem in the gravel space or the right of way right in front of your house between there and your property,
Which they're-
they're gonna treat that.
which there is right now. I'm not sure how far the property goes out. I asked the other day and
Where
I
you
was just
live?
told a lot farther than this whatever, but didn't know didn't even know how big the lot was exactly, which I found online. But anyway,
Yeah.
so
And by the way,
first,
don't count on those lot lines that you saw on the county's site. They are off by.
well, I mean, just like the size. I just
Yeah.
wanted to know if
Okay.
it was a quarter acre or if it was,
Right.
So what I would do, I mean, I was planning on taking care of it anyway, but what I use is just vinegar and
That'll do
water.
it.
Mix vinegar with water and it's just keep at it and eventually it all dies. But I'm just not sure how big of that space is in front of the house would be
Well, let's put it this
considered.
way. If you keep it dead, we won't have to spray it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll tackle it right away, best I can, and,
Yeah.
okay.
'cause
And then plus I just really planning on having a huge garden and all that kind of stuff, and I just want to keep it as natural as possible.
Oh, no, their requirements for spraying is low wind, low,
Okay, Okay,
that's
that's what I was
why they
just
have to
curious
go
about. I'm
through
not
this
trying to cause a
entire
problem, I
class and
just-
get certified to be able to do this.
yeah,
What street do you
right.
live on? What area of town do you live?
Oh, yeah, I'm actually renting Lester Smith's
Okay.
a part of his house.
So you're up on the South Hill?
On the corner,
Just
yeah,
above you.
West Douglas
Okay.
and, what's that?
That's-
What's the side road?
It's the White House with.
Yeah, it's the two streets over, that street that goes up that way, but it's West Douglas on the
You're
corner.
probably not gonna be spraying much up around there.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm just,
Across
doing a lot of
from-
gardening, I have, like, my dogs are outside, I
This
always
is-
try to keep everything as natural as possible.
A lot of this is a focus on keeping our
White
properties like
House
the
with the
lagoon area
daylight
and
basin.
have a lot of weeds
Where
grow
Sam
there because of the
Richardson
water.
was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then a lot of this is about
Sorry, you gotta
people
get
really
the
want
right
aesthetics
so that we
of the
know
town and
which
stuff.
Well, I heard it, you know.
And maintenance, to
Yeah.
Chris's point, you let it get out of hand, which
Because
is
for
done.
years and years,
It's
that's what-
a
Yeah.
The
problem,
so-and-so
but we don't
house,
want
they said, no,
weeds
that's-
growing through the sidewalk and in the
Oh, yeah,
gutter,
no,
and
I don't want that.
That's what
of course.
most of this is all about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
The problem is the staff has to be licensed to even spray
Right.
that stuff, so
yeah, so
they're
they
just
know they're
going,
doing this stuff, yeah.
they're just going to get licensed.
No, of course I want our town to look nice and stuff too,
Yeah,
so.
no, we're not loading a helicopter full of Roundup and
The
spraying
the
it
planes
down.
are gonna be flying over and like.
DDT, sewer lagoon.
Agent Orange. Okay.
Okay, and then the other thing was, like, you're talking about the well. So, we need a new well because the well that we have now is going dry?
We have two wells.
Okay,
One of them is 100 years old.
oh wow,
And it's giving all the indications that it's not going to be working very well in the future.
Okay, it's not that there's no water down there.
No,
It's just-
there's water.
It's just
Oh,
the
there's
well
water.
needs to be.
And we have 2 wells, and the other one's got a brand new pump on it, and it's putting out lots of nice clean water. The problem is we used to alternate between the 2.
And
So
now we,
and now we
okay, so
can't.
that's why, okay.
We're not
I'm trying to think-
Arizona, we're not drying up.
Yeah, okay.
Gotta be able to get it out of the ground.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
I'm not trying to keep you guys longer, I'm sorry.
No, I
just-
mean,
that
our
was-
wells-
those are really important things.
Yeah,
like
our
the
wells
well
are
is-
only.
But we're keeping
like-
track of how long they're keeping
Yeah.
us.
Our wells are like 120 feet, 130 feet deep, which in the greater scheme of things is not that
Not that deep.
deep, no.
Yeah.
You said what the new well's up to? You said it was gaining lately.
As far as.
What the static level is?
Oh, I haven't checked for a while. It's written down in the other room, I haven't looked at it.
At one point in time, like last year when we started our whole well problem, the static level was like less than 20 feet down.
Beneath your feet.
So we've got pretty decent water.
Yeah.
We did drop down it pretty heavily this summer, so it's, hopefully we'll see it come back appropriately, but.
Well, let's just say that we have the best water in the city, like the whole country.
Yeah, Harrington always did.
And we don't treat it.
Yeah,
There's no chlorine in it.
Harrington
It's-
always.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
he's saying, that it's
Yeah.
not treated
It's
as.
hard.
Yeah, because on Camino Island where I came from, we have every community has wells or private wells, and stuff, but they actually had some come out and fix it because someone put too much chlorine in it. And usually it doesn't have that much at all. And so,
Yeah, we don't even chlorinate our water, so don't have to. And it comes out clean to the whistle every time we have it tested,
Yeah.
so.
cool,
Okay,
nice.
And what was your first name, Sarah?
I'm Sarah.
Sarah.
Yes, and I really enjoyed this. This is the first time I've ever experienced, I'm like used to bigger places, so this is really cool, like how
Don't
to
enjoy it too
handle
much, you'll
anything.
end up on council.
I know, I was thinking about that, I'm like, I wonder if someday I might be able to.
Say if Creighton didn't throw in tonight, I was just like,
Yeah, you'd have
want a
been it.
spot?
But you
I
have
always
to,
like to be
you
protested.
have to live here for a year.
all right.
Were you gonna mention that?
Have we?
You have to have lived here
Oh,
for years,
yes,
that you're
I'm sorry.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, I don't know anything. I would have to, yeah.
Don't worry, I don't either.
So,
Well, Joe, we really hope
yeah.
that you don't go on vacation even, right? Because
yeah.
Gavin takes over, we might be in trouble.
You guys wanted an inventory of the current significant potholes, so this is it. This got done just before Lance went on paternity leave, so.
Papa
He came and
leave.
painted some circles around those ones in front of Eileen's, so.
Was there anything for us to sign, Mr. Mayor? We have to sign that one.
All right, I should leave you guys alone now.
Okay.
So thank you so much.
Nice
and-
meeting
and I'll be
you.
at the next one too. This is
Okay.
really
Perfect.
awesome. You guys are doing such a great job.
Thank you. Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you
Right now, we
guys.
have no
too,
public
really.
works
Just
people in town.
spending time
They're
here.
both on FMLAs.
Have a good night.
So as soon as the
Thank you.
weather
Guys, have a good night.
cleans up, what we're gonna do is we're gonna identify the ones that we can do ourselves.
Bye, Cassie.
Bye,
Okay,
Sarah.
get those done.
They missed the
Oh, I
one
loved
up
it. I
here
loved
at
it.
Good. See you next time.
the corner of the bus station, the bus stop to the school.
Okay.
That started out like this and is now this big, and it is,
Is it on state highway or
Is
is it on?
that us or the state highway?
technically it's outside of the right of way for the state highway. I don't know if we want to deal with it or we want the school to deal with it.
Do we have any cold patch, all-weather cold patch that, down there in the shop?
I don't know if we do, if we do, it's very little. We can, thank you. I was gonna get some for him. I'm just waiting for the. Usual.
Oh, sorry.
Do we have any kind of motion to adjourn?
I did.
Okay,
Second.
okay, thank you.
I didn't hear that, but that doesn't matter.
We have a motion to adjourn, first
There
and
you go.
seconded.
You're number one.
Discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed,